Hey guys, in this video we'll cover problem number 14, 15 and 16. Okay, let's start off. Question number 14. Girnar Tea Limited is engaged in growing and manufacturing tea in Assam and West Bengal. So the moment it is tea industry, what has to come to your mind? Rule number 8. Okay, then let's continue. The company's profit and loss account for the year ended 31/3/2020 shows a net profit of 550 lakhs after debiting and crediting the following amounts. Depreciation of 40 lakhs. This is as per accounts, as per Companies Act. You're supposed to add this back. The second point, interest of 2 lakhs on term loan paid to a bank for purchase of machinery for one of its tea factories. This is pretty much allowed as it is a revenue expenditure. So no alteration is needed. No rectification has to be passed. Third point, repairs of factory building amounting to 15 lakhs for which a sum of rupees 10 lakhs was withdrawn from tea deposit account maintained with NABARD as per section 33AB of Income Tax Act 1961. Okay, section 33AB clearly states that the money which is being deposited has to be used for the reasons specified in that particular section, and that section clearly tells you that if any repairs of a factory building are performed by withdrawing any amount from the amount which has been deposited, it will be added back to your profit in the year in which it is withdrawn. So this one has to be added back. And then what is the next one? Profit from sale of green tea leaves plucked in own garden 20 lakhs. There is no processing that has taken place and this is their own garden. This is considered as agricultural income. So it should not be added back. It should not be added to profit. So it has to be reduced from the profit. Okay, this is your agricultural income. It is exempted under section 10 subsection 1. And point E, rupees 5 lakhs spent towards stamp duty and registration fee for issue of bonus shares. Whenever you spend any amount towards issue of bonus shares, you are not increasing your capital base. Okay, you're converting your existing profits or your reserves into bonus shares and you're issuing it. So you're not increasing your capital base. Therefore, any expenditure incurred for issuing of bonus shares, that is considered as revenue expenditure. Therefore, this is your revenue expenditure, and therefore this is actually no adjustment is required. Rupees 5 lakhs is spent towards stamp and registration fee. No adjustment is required because this is already treated as revenue expenditure. Rupees 5 lakhs written off as bad debts in respect of a trade debt transferred from Tata Tea Limited in 2017-18 pursuant to the scheme of amalgamation. Okay, approved by jurisdictional high court. The apex court has ruled that whenever any company is being taken over or it is being amalgamated with our company, then as a result of that, any debt is being taken over, it may be written off. Okay, and if once you write off that particular debt, you can claim it as a deduction. Okay, we have already mentioned that in the work note. We'll go through when we are doing the sum. Point G, rupees 2 lakhs contributed to employee welfare trust. This is not permitted. Any trust, any fund or any other setup, if you transfer any amount to any of the unrecognized things registered under Societies Act, okay, you will not be permitted a deduction unless it is recognized provident fund, recognized superannuation fund or something like that. So this amount has to be added back. H, interest paid
on came back from a search.
Interest paid on intercorporate deposit rupees 1 lakh and 1.5 lakh for February 2020 and March 2020 respectively, for which tax was not deducted at source. So interest, there was an intercorporate deposit for which interest is being paid. Okay, however TDS is not being deducted. So the moment TDS is not deducted, one thing is very clear, 30% of the amount will be disallowed. Excuse me. 30% of the amount will be disallowed. So here 30% on 1 lakh is 30,000 and 30% on 1.5 lakh is it approximately comes to 45. So overall it is 75,000. So an amount of 75,000 will be added back. It will be disallowed. He is giving you some additional information. Let's check that out. Following additional information are furnished by the management. Depreciation as per tax audit report is 55 lakhs. Now you are supposed to add back this, which is as per income tax. One financial institution converted arrears of interest of 10 lakhs into a new loan in the financial year 2015-16, which is repayable in 5 annual installments. The company has paid rupees 2 lakhs towards the installments due for the financial year 2019-20. So in this particular scenario, 2 lakhs is to be reduced. 2 lakhs has to be reduced from the profit and loss. Then the next point, a sum of rupees 200 lakhs was deposited in NABARD. As per section 33AB, there are two amounts which are given. One is the amount which is deposited, or 40% of the profit, whichever is lower, is treated as a permittable amount to be deducted. Now here he is here he is depositing 200 lakhs. Therefore this is the first thing. The second thing is you have to calculate 40% on the PGBP. So whatever is lower, that will be permitted as a deduction. And then the fourth point, rupees 10 lakhs being sales tax dues of earlier years determined during the year on disposal of appeals by the appellate authority, for which the company has furnished a bank guarantee to the commercial tax authority. Now 44AB clearly states that certain deductions are only permitted on the basis of payment before the due date. Okay, without payment it is not permitted, and bank guarantee is not transfer of cash. It is just a guarantee. It is not real transfer of cash. Therefore this is not permitted. This has to be disallowed. Compute taxable income of the company for the assessment year 2020-21, stating reasons for each item. Ignore provisions relating to MAT. Now let's see the solution. The first thing is profits and gains as per business and profession. It is given in the question. It is 5 crores 50 lakhs. Yeah, let's recheck. Yes, not this. Yes, it is 550 lakhs. 550 lakhs, that is 5 crores 50 lakhs. Yeah. So you are supposed to add back all the items that are disallowed, or the items which are considered separately also. Depreciation as per Companies Act, that is as per accounts, is 40 lakhs. You are supposed to add this back. Then depreciation, then repairs to factory building to the extent of amount spent by withdrawing from the T deposit account, that is that which is paid to, that which is deposited with NABARD, that has to be added back. It is disallowed. So add back 10 lakhs. Contribution to employee welfare trust, disallowed under section 40A subsection 9. As I told you, that is also disallowed. Contribution, an amount of rupees 2 lakhs. And then D, interest paid on intercorporate deposit. Since you have not deducted TDS as mentioned in the question, an amount equivalent to 30% will be disallowed. So 75,000, that is 30,000 plus 45,000. It is 75,000. When you add up everything, you get 52 lakhs 75,000, which further accumulates to 6 crores 2 lakhs 75,000. Now what are the items that are allowed, which are not considered, or else which are to be considered separately? The first one is profit on sale of green tea leaves plucked in own gardens, which is an agricultural income. As discussed, this has to be reduced. This is not your income. It is an exempted income. Therefore, it has to be reduced from your PGBP. Then depreciation as per income tax rules. This is given in the question. It is 55 lakhs. You're supposed to reduce it. Payment of new loan converted from arrear interest. Payment of new loan converted. This is an amount which is already paid. Okay, I believe this is given in the additional information. One financial institution one financial institution converted arrear interest of rupees 10 lakhs into a new loan which is repayable in 5 installments. A company has paid 2 lakhs towards the installment. Therefore, once this amount is paid, this will be an expenditure. Okay, so revenue expenditure, this will be treated as a revenue expenditure. Less deductions under 33AB for making deposit. Now he has told you that the company has deposited 2 crores with NABARD, and then subsequently when you calculate 40% of your business income, it comes down to 2 crore 10 lakhs 30,000. Therefore, lower of the two is 2 crores. So you will have a deduction of 2 crores because that is the lower of the two. And then when you deduct that out of 5, when you add up these two amounts, you arrive at 6 crore 2 lakhs 75,000. Out of 6 crores 2 lakhs 75,000, if you further reduce 77 lakhs and 2 crores, you arrive at 3 crore 25 lakhs 75,000. And then when you apply rule 8, because this being a T company, T company, 60% of the above being agricultural income, your remaining business income will accumulate to 1 crore 95 lakhs. I'm sorry, you have to 60% of the above income, that is 60% of 3 crore 25 lakhs will be your agricultural income. So the remaining income, it will come down to 1 crore 30 lakhs and 30,000. So this is your PGBP. Now looking forward to your working notes. The first one, as per section 33A6, where any amount standing to the credit of an SSC in the account maintained with NABARD is utilized by the SSC for the purpose of any expenditure in connection with such business in accordance with the scheme approved by the T-Board. Such expenditure shall not be allowed as deduction. Okay, therefore the amount of 10 lakhs withdrawn and utilized for incurring expenditure on repair to factory building is to be disallowed. Now subsequently, there is no increase in the capital base of the company, that is amount incurred for bonus shares. That one, it is a revenue expenditure. Therefore, no adjustment is required since it has already been considered. Now, any tax, as we already discussed, sales tax due, bank guarantee is not considered. Therefore, that cannot be treated as your revenue expenditure. Only on the date of payment. Okay, it's not about revenue or capital. That is basically a revenue expenditure only. However, it will be allowed only on the basis of payment. Here he is telling you that bank guarantee has been given. Bank guarantee is not to be treated as actual payment. So therefore it is disallowed. Hence it is not treated as payment to be eligible under, which is to be eligible for deduction under section 43B. And the fourth point, under section 36(1) subclause 4, an SSC can claim deduction in respect of bad debts provided the amount of such debt has been taken into account while computing a total income of the SSC and it is written off in the books of accounts of the SSC. In case of T. Veerabhadra Rao, the apex court held that the successor of a business is entitled to write off the predecessor's debt as a bad debt and claim deduction is the other conditions that are to be fulfilled. Then the fifth one is as per section 40A9. This one I have already told you. As an employer to any fund, trust, company, association of persons, body of individuals, society registered under the Society Registration Act or any other institution for any purpose can be disallowed. He is telling you whenever a contribution is made for these particular bodies, it will be disallowed. Okay, for any person, for any purpose can be disallowed, except where such contribution is paid to a recognized provident fund, approved superannuation fund or approved gratuity fund. Therefore, contribution to employees welfare fund trust is to be disallowed. Next, section 40A subclause IA seeks to disallow 30% of any sum paid to any resident. If tax is not deducted at source or after deduction, tax is not deposited to the central government on or before the due date prescribed on section 139(1) of the Act. In this case, tax has not been deducted, therefore 30% of the expenditure will be disallowed. The seventh point, as per explanation 3C below 43B, a deduction of any sum being interest payable or any loan or borrowing from a public financial institution shall be allowed if such interest has been actually paid, and such interest which has been converted into a loan or borrowing shall not be deemed to have actually been paid. Okay, this also has been discussed. The manner in which the converted interest is to be allowed as deduction has been clarified. Why? You don't have to really mention all these things in exam. Okay, if you don't remember, it is absolutely fine. You can just write the you can give them a rough picture of what you understand, and you can say that any interest to be paid is considered as a revenue expenditure even though a loan has been a loan has been converted. Okay, that is all about your 14th question. Then 15th question. Some India Limited engaged in manufacturing activity furnish the following detail. Net profit as per profit and loss account is 50 lakhs. Depreciation charged to profit and loss is 16 lakhs. Now you will take this profit and loss account, and to that particular amount you will add back depreciation as per Companies Act, and then depreciation as per Income Tax Act is 28 lakhs. However, he's given you few more things. He is saying depreciation rate meant for computers has been adopted for accessories like printers and scanners and EPABX. Okay, this is nothing but it is something like a fax. Okay, it is a communication system which is helping, which helps employees to communicate within the employees or with the clients as well. So this is not actually, when you consider printers and scanners, you require a computer to operate them, but when you require a EPABX, you don't require a computer. Therefore, the rate applicable to computers, you can apply it to printers and scanners, but that particular rate cannot be applied to EPABX. Okay, so EPABX is something on which you can only you can claim 15%, that it qualifies under other plant and machinery. So on printers and scanners, yes, you can go ahead. However, on EPABX, you have to add it back. The depreciation, and if it is calculated at the rate of 40%, it comes down to 80,000 on 2 lakhs. On 2 lakhs, 40% comes down to 80,000. That has to be added back. However, subsequently 15% has to be reduced. So on 28 lakhs, okay, on 28 lakhs, if you reduce 80,000, you will get 27 lakhs 20,000. Okay, to which you should further add 15% on EPABX. That comes down to around 27 lakhs 50,000. Yeah. Now this third point, this second depreciation part, we'll look at it in the sum again. Third point, it incurred rupees 2,50,000 as expenditure for public issue of shares. The public issue could not materialize on account of non-clearance by SEBI. The amount is charged to profit and loss account. It does not matter whether it is cleared by SEBI or it is not cleared by SEBI, whether you have gone forward or you have not gone forward. Once any amount is planned to be raised for increasing the capital base, any expenditure incurred will also be in capital in nature. Therefore, here an amount of 2,50,000 which is incurred, that amount will be capitalized, and it cannot be treated as it cannot be treated as revenue expenditure. It will only be capitalized. Therefore, this amount, since it has already been capitalized, you will add it back. Then point D, it incurred expenditure of rupees 2 lakhs towards issue of debentures. Debentures is nothing like a loan. It is for running your business. It is not increasing your capital base. Therefore, any amount incurred for issue of debentures, that will be treated as your revenue expenditure only. Point E, the company paid 1 lakh as compounding fee for violation in pollution control regulations. This is breach of law. Once it is breach of law, no matter what you do, whether you go for compounding or not, that amount will be disallowed. Okay, it's not. It is breach of law. It is not breach of contract. And then point F, the company lost cash of 25 lakhs due to theft when it was withdrawn from a bank and taken to administrative office. It It is not insured and hence fully charged as revenue expenditure. Okay, now the fundamental agenda, the not agenda, you can rather say it, you don't have to think as to who has to stolen it. You don't have to go probe much into it. You just have to check whether cash is lost or not, whether it is due to theft, dacoity or anything of that sort, and then whether it is connected to business or not. Now here the company lost cash of 25 lakhs due to theft, okay, where it is withdrawn from bank and taken to administrative office. It is not insured, therefore no adjustment is required, since here it is lost due to theft and it has already been considered. Point G, rupees 5 lakhs was spent during the year towards permitted CSR as per section 35 of Companies Act 2013. This is charged to profit and loss account. Now here section 135 clearly states that 2% of your net profits, subjecting it to a certain few companies, like as mentioned under that section, okay, they have to spend for CSR activities. Now that is not permitted under what do you call your deduction. That is not permitted. Therefore, that is to be added back. If that is charged to your profit and loss account, it has to be added back. That will be disallowed. Point H, it paid 1 lakh to commodity broker for commodity transactions at MC Exchange. The amount was debited to profit and loss account and no tax was deducted at source on this payment. Therefore, 30% of 1 lakh will be added back because TDS has not been deducted. Point I, it paid rupees 50,000 to an electoral trust by cash and 1 lakh by check to a registered political party. Both these are debited to profit and loss account. So this one, apparently it has to be added back now. Subsequently you can claim deduction. However, you cannot claim deduction on both the amounts which are paid to electoral trust and also to a political party. Reason being simple, whatever is being paid to electoral trust is through cash, so that is outrightly disallowed. But whatever is paid to a political party, it is permitted under 80 GGB, chapter 6A. Okay, both these are debited to profit and loss account. So you're supposed to add them back first, and subsequently under chapter 6A, under section 80 GGB, you can claim deduction. Now let's look forward to the solution. Net profit as per profit and loss account is 50 lakhs. To this amount, depreciation as per books, you are adding it back. Expenditure on public issue, as I told you, no matter what, once you have incurred it, it is a capital expenditure. You cannot add it, you cannot push this in under revenue expenditure. So you're supposed to add it back. Point C, compounding fee, this is breach of law. So this is being added back. That is not permitted. It is not permitted as a deduction. And then loss of cash in transit, this is due to theft. Since already it has been considered as a revenue expenditure, you need not make any adjustment. Point number E, expenditure towards permitted CSR activities as per section 135, you cannot claim it as a deduction, okay, because you are calculating that on net profit and it is not permitted under any relevant section. Point F, payment to a commodity broker without deducting tax. 30%, since he has not deducted tax, 30% of that particular amount, that is he has paid an amount of 1 lakh. So 30% of that is 30,000, that will be added back. Donation to electoral trust and registered political party, I told you both have to be added back. These will be subsequently dealt with under chapter 6A. And then what are the items that you're supposed to reduce? Depreciation allowance under Income Tax Act 1961. This has to be reduced. This is as per, again this one we have checked out the calculations. Let's look at it right now. Depreciation as computed under Income Tax Act was 28 lakhs. Now EAPBX, you have to reduce it because they have considered 40%, which is not correct. Okay, it is only entitled to 15% depreciation. So you have to reduce 80,000. Then when you deduct it, you will arrive at 27 lakhs 20,000. And then you have to add depreciation at the rate of 15%. Since you have removed the entire, entire depreciation amount of 80,000, it has a nil. So here you will again further add back 15% on 2 lakhs. That will come to 27 lakh 50,000. I hope this is clear. And then expenditure on issue of debentures is 2 lakhs. That since this is also a revenue expenditure only, it cannot be capitalized. 29 lakhs 50,000. Let's look back. Okay, he has mentioned in the question that it incurred expenditure of 2 lakhs and they have capitalized the amount considering it as a capital expenditure. So that has to be reduced. Okay, so the gross total income is 46 lakhs 80,000, and further, as I told you, an amount of 50,000 is paid by cash, which is not permitted. Therefore, amount which is paid by check to a political party, registered political party, that will be permitted as a deduction. So the working notes are nothing but they consist of whatever we have discussed and absolutely nothing beyond. Let's go through a few important points. Okay, regarding the theft part, in order to determine whether an amount from theft, dacoity, embezzlement, etc. is incidental to carrying on the business, it does not make much difference as to whether it is committed by the employees of the SSC or strangers. In this case, the loss to theft took place when cash was withdrawn from the bank and taken to administrative office. Hence, it is incidental to the business and thus allowable as a revenue expenditure. Same has been charged as revenue expenditure. Adjustment is not required. That is one of the important points, and everything else is just same, simple basics. Yeah, that is it. Let's go to your next question. Anything else to be covered? Second point is covered. Third point, yes. Yeah, fifth point, any expenditure incurred by an SSC on the activities relating to corporate social responsibility referred to in section 135 shall not be deemed to have been incurred for the purpose of the business, and hence it shall not be allowed as deduction under section 37. Yeah, let's go to problem number 16. Pizza Limited is engaged in the business of manufacturing plastic bottles. Its profit and loss shows a net profit of 60 lakhs for the year ended 31/3/2020 after debiting the below items. Now, point number A, rupees 5 lakhs being expenses incurred on travelling of the wife of managing director who accompanied him on tour to Beijing on invitation of Trade and Commerce Chamber, China. Now, this is a permissible deduction. Okay, let us see the working note. It has been more precisely mentioned. Expenses on travelling of wife of MD to Beijing on invitation of Trade and Commerce Chamber, China is an allowable expenses on the ground of commercial expediency and business consideration. Whenever you receive a formal invitation and you take your spouse along, okay, it would be a permissible deduction. Therefore, this particular amount, it is permitted. No adjustment is required because he's already considered it. The second point, B point, rupees 10,000 and 15,000 is paid in cash on 15/10/2019. Both the amounts have been paid to the same person on 15/10/2019 to a contractor who carried out certain repair work in the office premises. So therefore, both these amounts are disallowed. Why are they disallowed? Because cumulatively they are more than 10,000. Okay, the amount paid is 25,000 to a contractor and it is on the same day. Though there are two vouchers, if the amount paid to one particular person is more than 10,000, then it is disallowed. So that has to be added back. One-time license fee of rupees 10 lakhs paid to a foreign company for obtaining franchise on 1/7/2019. Now this particular amount is an intangible asset. It is not a revenue expenditure. So you can calculate depreciation at the rate of 25% and deduct 2.5 lakh as depreciation after adding back the entire 10 lakhs. Or else you can alternatively do the net off. Like instead of adding back the entire 10 lakhs and reducing 2.5 lakh, you can just add back 7.5 lakh. That would serve the purpose. Okay, and then point D, dividend of 3.5 lakh received from a foreign company in which Pizza Limited holds 28% in the nominal value of share capital of the company. Rupees 25,000 is spent on earning this income. Now here there's one important point you're supposed to note. Any Indian company which has a share of more than 26% in a foreign company, okay, dividend earned from such a company is taxed at a reduced rate of 15%. Therefore, as a result of that, you cannot deduct any expenses which you have incurred for earning that particular income. So in this particular scenario, he has dividend, he has added that amount. So you have to reduce a dividend of 3,50,000, and he has also claimed deduction of 25,000, that is the expenditure. So dividend is basically taxed under income from other sources, okay, and this 25,000 also, it has to be added back because you're not permitted with the deduction. However, the net amount of 3,25,000 may be reduced because 25,000 will be added back and 3,50,000 will be reduced. So the net of amount is 3,25,000. You can do it either ways. Either you may add 25,000 and reduce 3,25,000, or you may add back 25,000 and reduce 3,50,000, or you may just reduce 3,25,000, the net of figure. And then depreciation on tangible assets is 1,15,000. 1,15,000, this is as per accounts, as per Companies Act, so this has to be added back, okay. And subsequent depreciation, that is depreciation on tangible asset, that is 1.75 lakh, this has to be reduced. Instead, you can only reduce 0.25 lakh as such. Instead, it is always better to do in a much more detailed phase. First add back, then you can deduct it. The opening and the closing stock of the year were 18 lakhs and rupees 18,75,000 respectively, and were undervalued by 10% on cost. So you can do one thing. You can take the difference of 18 lakhs and 18,72,000, that is 72,000. On 72,000 you can calculate 10%, 10 by 90. Because why 10 by 90? Because it is undervalued. So you will calculate it on 90%, 10% by 90%, 10 by 90. That comes to, I think, approximately 8,000. Yeah, 8,000. So that you will add it back because it is undervalued. And then what is the additional information that is given to you? Provision for audit fee of rupees 1 lakh was made in the books for the year ending 31/3/2019 without deducting tax at source. So he's telling you clearly, we are actually presently dealing with 2019-20, that is 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. But this particular amount, this particular provision of audit fee is pertaining to 2018-19, that is the previous year. What is he telling you here? Provision for audit fee of rupees 1 lakh was made in the books for the year ending 31st March 2019. That is without deducting TDS. Therefore, in that particular year, 70,000 is permitted as a deduction. However, 30,000 is not permitted as a deduction. And then subsequently, such fee was paid to the auditors in September 2019 after deducting tax under 194J, and the tax so deducted was deposited on 7th of October 2019. That is in the current year 2019-20. So though you are disallowed in the year in which TDS is not deducted, in the subsequent year when you are deducting TDS and you are paying it, that particular year you will be entitled to the deduction. So this particular amount you can claim deduction in this particular year. Now point number B. During the year, the company purchased 5,000 numbers of RK Private Limited, that is shares, at rupees 20, while the fair market value of such share is 40. So the difference of 20 rupees is an income. It is treated as income, which will be taxed under PGBP. This particular amount has to be added to your profit. Depreciation on tangible fixed assets, this has to be added back. The earlier amount, which is as per the accounts, has to be reduced, and this has to be added back. And point D, a debt of rupees 8 lakhs was claimed as bad debt in financial year 2018-19, but the AO allowed 4 lakhs as bad debt. That is, a debt of rupees 8 lakhs was claimed as bad debt in financial year 2018-19, that is in the previous year. But what did the AO do? He allowed only 4 lakhs. So the remaining 4 lakhs is still due. Okay, in the current financial year 2019-20, rupees 3 lakhs was recovered as bad debt. Okay, was not given in the books of accounts. So that particular amount has to be considered. Okay, it was not given in the books of accounts. So the difference amount is 1 lakh is yet to be recovered. So that 1 lakh you can claim it as deduction in this particular here. Okay, this 3 lakhs it was not given in the books of accounts, so you will not consider it. Okay, now let's look into the problem. He's asking you to compute the total income and tax payable. He's asking you to ignore MAT. Now the first point, net profit as per profit and loss account, you will consider 60 lakhs. Cash payment exceeding 10,000, as we have already discussed, 25,000 will be added back. License fee for obtaining franchise rupees 10 lakhs less depreciation hereon. Okay, he's taking the net off figure as we have already discussed. Instead of adding back 10 lakhs and instead of subsequently deducting 2.5 lakhs depreciation, he's just adding the net amount. Instead of 10 lakhs, he's adding only 7.5. You can do it the other way as well. Provision for gratuity. Okay, this point I think somehow we skipped it. Let's check again. Oh yes, provision for gratuity based on actual valuation is 5 lakhs. Actual gratuity paid was 1.5 lakh and that was debited to the provision for gratuity account. So provision was created for 5 lakhs, but the actual amount paid is 1.5 lakhs. So when you'll bring in section 43B into picture and you'll only allow on the basis of payment. So here only 1.5 lakh is permitted and 3.5 lakh, that is the difference between 5 lakhs and 1.5 lakh, will be added back. Alright. Yeah. So the same thing he's doing here. Provision for gratuity, 5 lakhs minus 1.5 lakh, 3.5 lakh, he is adding it back. Difference on account of valuation of stock, 8,000. Okay, that you'll add it back. So you'll arrive at 71 lakh 33,000. Now let's see what are the items that are to be reduced. Dividend received from foreign company minus expenditure incurred to earn dividend. I told you this earlier. 25,000 is not permitted because the company holds more than 26% of the share capital in that particular foreign company. So the dividend of rupees 3,50,000, that particular amount, it is taxed under IOS and not under PGBP. That is totally taxable. So 3,50,000 you will reduce it. Alright, and that 25,000 whatever, once again, 25,000, this will be added. That should be added. Okay, instead of doing 2 steps, he is doing it. He's just netting it off. He is reducing 25,000 from 3,50,000. Instead of reducing the entire amount, instead of reducing 3,50,000, instead of adding 25,000, he is just reducing 3,25,000. That is the net off figure. I hope you're clear. Waiver of interest on bank loan. Now this particular amount, let's look into the question. Yes, point number F. Rupees 5 lakhs and 1,50,000 being amounts waived by a bank out of principal and arrears, respectively in one-time settlement. So these people have taken loan and the interest amount, both of them have been waived off by the bank in a one-time settlement. So this rupees 5 lakhs being the principal amount, you have received it. There is an inflow into your company. So what will you do with that? That will be treated as your income. However, when it comes to the interest component, when you bring in again 43B into picture, only on the basis of payment you can claim deduction. As such, there is no flow of fund into the company. So this particular amount being not the real inflow, that is actually deducted, that will be reduced because you have considered that as your income, which is not true. There is no inflow. Only 5 lakhs is your income. Since that has already been considered, no adjustment is required. However, for 1,50,000 you will reduce it. he is doing the same thing. 1,50,000 has been reduced. And coming to the provision for audit fee, I told you last year he was disallowed 30,000 because he did not deduct TDS. That same TDS in this year he has paid it. So this year you are allowed with that particular amount. Now coming to bad debts of 1 lakh. Bad debt of 1 lakh rupees, this particular amount, it is permitted as deduction because that has not been recovered. And coming to point number E, depreciation on assets. Depreciation on assets, the difference is in every problem basically we add this particular amount and we reduce this amount. Here he is just setting off and reducing the net part. That's it. And then coming to income from other sources, dividend from specified foreign income, you have to consider the entire amount without claiming deduction because of the specified condition. Okay, that is 3.5 lakh. And shares of a closely held company, you have purchased 5,000 shares at a price which is lower than that which is prevailing in the market. So there you get a benefit of 20 rupees because that's a closely held company, obviously. So there when you calculate 5,000 into 20 rupees, you get 1 lakh. So your gross total income here is 69 lakhs 53,000, out of which you deduct chapter 6A. Your total income further will be 69 lakhs 53,000. Computation of tax liability. How do you calculate? It's pretty simple here. Tax at the rate of 15% on dividend of 3,50,000 from specified foreign company. That will constitute 52,500 and tax on at the rate of 30% on the balance amount. Alright. That will constitute 19 lakhs 8,900. And coming to education cess, health and education cess, it is 4% on the tax already calculated. That will come to 81,336. Your total tax liability is 21 lakhs 14,736. Alright. So there's nothing much in the working notes as such. Regarding the MD, it is permitted, we have already discussed. Disallowance pertaining to contractor, I told you already. And then coming to franchise, it's discussed. Dividend, it's already very clear. Depreciation is also clear. Waiver of principal amount for trading in the benefit. Let's see, it's 0.6 once. Waiver of principal amount of loan for trading activity is a benefit in respect of trading liability by way of remission and cessation, therefore, and it is taxable under 41(1). Okay, I've told you about the capital part. So let's see, since the loan is for meeting working capital requirement, it is logical to assume that it is taken from a trading activity. Since the loan waiver has already been credited to profit and loss account, no adjustment is required. However, as per 43B, since interest is allowable only on actual payment, deduction in respect of interest due on loan would have been allowed as deduction in a previous year. Therefore, such interest cannot be brought to tax by invoking 41(1), since such interest has now been credited to profit and loss account. The same has to be deducted while computing business income. Okay. And then yeah, the 12th point is talking about the benefit you are receiving from a reduced share price which you have acquired. Okay, the 11th point, we'll go the other way around. Yeah, this was already explained. Yeah, everything is covered. So whatever we have discussed, that has to be put in the working notes. So this is your question number 16. Okay, I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye.